Good morning. Give people a chance to sit down. Pardon?
We still have 5 minutes to sit down. No, it's 11. I'm actually wrong.
Good morning. Welcome to Westside. I hope that everybody here is as pleased to be here as I am. What a wonderful way to start Sunday morning. There are a whole bunch of announcements that I will try my best to keep in track. But first, I just wanted to say that I think about what to do for the welcoming each time that I do this. And it occurred to me to start going over, saying some things about the principles that we all believe in. And so I looked at them again. We are a church that is, of course, welcoming to all people. The last one, equity. We declare that every person has the right to flourish with inherent dignity and worthiness. What a big claim that is. We don't simply declare it, I hope. We actually try to nourish it. We try to encourage it. We try to make everyone feel welcome, and sometimes we're more successful and less successful. But if everyone is welcome to express who they are and why they've come and what they need, and we can do that in coffee afterward or during the actual body of the service itself. So think about the way in which you want to nourish other people's inherent dignity and worthiness. That's a mouthful. It really is, but it's true, and it's what we believe about each other. Now, the more boring part, the announcements. As I say, I hope I keep this straight. Remind you that on March 21st, the Berea College Folk Roots Ensemble concert is going to be here. This is going to be very good, and I hope people come. We probably need, and we do need volunteers for that. Let's see, Barry, you have an announcement you want to make. Come on up and do that.
This is just a quick one. I offered in the church auction a wildflower walk, lunch and wildflower walk, and we still have open spaces on that, so there's a sign-up sheet in the back if you're interested in that. It's on April 18th, and we'll meet here at the church for a lunch, and then go to Hall Ridge Park for a wildflower hike. And the cost is $15 per person, and so if you want to go, sign up, and you can donate the money to the church through the box or however you wish to do that. Thank you.
David, did you want to do the song?
Pardon?
Did you want to do the song? Into rejoicing.
Oh, before, let me finish the announcements. So Ellen asked me to mention to you the book club meeting previously scheduled for March 28th will meet instead on March 21st at 10 a.m. via Zoom. The reason for that is that she and some people here, I know I'm included, want to attend the No Kings March on the 28th. And so the two would happen at the same time. So we're changing the book club by moving it ahead a week. Michelle, you had an announcement you wanted to make.
Thank you, David. I'm Michelle Knifing. I'm the president here at Westside. But in this, oh, okay. Hi, can everybody hear me? Yeah, hi. Okay, thank you. Michelle Knifing, I'm present here at West Side, but I'm talking to you today as part of the Fun Party Group. And our upcoming Canvas campaign is we have a good thing going at West Side, and we have our kickoff party is going to be Sunday, March 29th. And the Fun Connection game is back. So I'm asking you to please send me a fun or interesting fact about yourself. This is really a good way for the newer members and friends of West Side and our long-timers to get to know each other. So that's a fun game that we're going to be playing at the party. There's some information sheets in the back of the room that give you a little bit more information about that game. And you can send that directly to me at president@westsideuc.org, or there's also a link in the newsletter that you can send it in. And also, we're going to have our potluck that day, which again is Sunday, March 29th, instead of the following Sunday, which is Easter. So hope everybody comes to the party, and we're going to have a lot of fun. Thank you.
And Reverend Carol has an announcement she'd like to make.
Good morning, everyone. It's awesome to see you all this morning. I'm Reverend Carol Badeau, privileged to serve here as a minister. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. It's great to have you all here today. I wanted to let you know that we have on the side table over here, there are some cards for people that we want to just send our communal wishes to. So we have a card for Richard and Shirley Licht, Richard Licht and Shirley McGuire, who have been with Westside a really long time. Some of you will remember them, some of you will not. There's not anything particularly dramatic going on in their lives. They're getting older and have had a lot of health issues. And so there's a card for them, just a cheerful message. And there's a card for Bob Valaga, whose wife Lori passed away about 10 days ago. And there is a card for Jesse Tolar, whose husband Ben died a few weeks ago. So even if you've never met any of these people, this is the most important message. It doesn't matter if you've met them. If you're in this room, you're part of the community, and they're part of the community, and your voice matters just in reaching out. Sign your name, say, thinking of you, or hope things get, whatever you feel like saying. Please take a minute during coffee hour to sign the cards and just let these folks know that we're thinking of them. Thanks.
I think that's everyone. I'm not sure. And now the choir will be... Yes, no, we have one more. Okay.
Hi, I'm Jerry, and at our church auction, we offered a tour of Conservation Fisheries, Inc. in downtown Knoxville, and only one person signed up for it, so there's still spaces available. This would be a really fun thing if you have any interest at all in endangered fishes. CFI is the premier place in the United States for raising and releasing back into the wild and threatened and endangered species of fishes, and you can't believe how beautiful some of these things are until you actually see them up close and in person. So if you want to go on that tour, it's March 28th at 10 o'clock, and just see me, and I can get you signed up for that. We're asking that you make a $10 donation to the church, and then if you want to make a donation also to CFI, that'd be great. Thank you.
Once again, I believe that's all the business, and now let us begin the service. Is the choir going to come up to sing Enter, Rejoice, and Come In?
Oh, well, no.
Here we are.
But here you are.
Yes.
Okay.
We're all singing together, though, right?
Well, no, wait. The choir sings the first verse as an invitation to everybody. And then everybody, the first and second verses. Okay, got that?
So we're repeating the first verse?
Yeah.
Did you catch that, Sandra?
So a little intro.
Thank you, choir.
Hopefully that got us in the right mood. And now, always my favorite part, the ringing of the singing bell, in which everyone stops and takes a deep breath and relaxes and thinks about the manner and the way we're here. And now Suzanne will light the chalice. I actually know what the sermon's going to be about. I've been listening to it off and on all week as she's been preparing it very, very carefully. And of course, then I looked for something to read during the chalice lighting and ran across a Mary Oliver poem, as so I often do, entitled The Summer Day. Who made the world? Who made the swan and the black bear? Who made the grasshopper? This grasshopper, I mean, the one who has flung herself out of the grass, the one who is eating sugar out of my hand and is moving her jaws back and forth, who is gazing around with her enormous and complicated eyes. Now she lifts her pale forearms and thoroughly washes her face. Now she snaps her wings open and floats away. I don't know exactly what a prayer is. I do know how to pay attention, how to fall down into the grass, how to kneel down in the grass, how to be whole and blessed, how to stroll through the fields, which is what I have been doing all day. Tell me, what else should I have done? Doesn't everything die at last and too soon? Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? And we now light 2 candles for a good thing and a bad thing that has happened. Bad things are unfortunately easy to think of. We are at war after all. Problems are going on. But that must be less important than the good things to think about. And so I thought about this a while too. And what I came up with last week, Suzanne and I went to Florida for a while. And when we got to the airport to come home, there was about a 2-hour wait to get through security. And if I had been one of the TSA people, I doubt very much that I could have kept my patience, and yet they all did. They did their work carefully, and after I finished my 2 hours in line, they had to keep on doing it. and they're not even going to be paid, apparently, for some period of time. And they did it anyway. How nice to think of how gracious people are, often without the kind of reinforcement that would make it easier to be patient in that fashion. And so let's appreciate what a wonderful world we live in terms of the people that were there. Let us remember to say to them how thankful we are that these are the people we share the world with. And we can forget for a moment the wars and the prices and the costs and all the other things, and remember that everyone is filled with inherent worth and dignity and are ready to live up to that if we encourage them to be able to do so. Thank you.
Thank you, David. I think he does a better sermon than I do, but yeah. I'm more of a essay writer, and I have trouble not doing things as an essay. So if it sounds like that, yeah. Anyway. So it's still the best time to be alive. How can I defend, let alone expand on that? Saw a little bit of morning news and thought, really? All is not well in the U.S., let alone in the world. And yet there are reasons why the overall picture, it's not perfect or close to it, and yet can be seen as the best time. This is taking off from a column I read in January of 2025, written by Nicholas Kristof, who is a columnist for the New York Times. He said, pretty appalled by what was going on then, and felt like he needed to step back, get some perspective, and not to feel overwhelmed by it. And so he did. My homily is going to be a combination of my thoughts and then some of Kristof's data that he came up with. When Donald Trump was campaigning for president back in 2016, he was using a slogan, "Make America Great Again." Very powerful slogan, still being very popular. And I thought it was really curious thinking about what is the appeal of that? Well, I think, people have different images they come up with. Great again. But why great? Well, I could think of a number of reasons, or you could probably think of some more. One is nostalgia, which is infamous for rose-tinting our pasts. At the very least, the world in which we grew up feels normal. It's what it was when we first observed and made sense of things. I can see a 1957 Ford restored, maybe two-toned, and think that's a car. They were terrible. They were dangerous. They got maybe 16 miles to the gallon. They died at maybe 80,000 miles. None of that data changes my emotional response. Wow, that's a car. Yeah. Another thing about when we were young was we were growing. Every year I could run faster, jump higher, read better, make more things. Getting better at things is such a happy experience. So that can kind of color the past when we were learning more, doing more. I'm sorry, anyway. A second part of the MAGA, I thought about this, appeals largely to those of us like Donald Trump and me, who grew up as America became the most powerful and most prosperous nation in the world. We led in triumphing in World War II without the widespread terror and misery that Europe experienced, without the physical devastation. And we were seen as heroic, for good reason, but we weren't nearly as scarred as any of our allies. The U.S. standard of living was going up steadily every year, thanks to the GI Bill and some of the related legislation. More people were able to buy homes, more people were able to go to college than ever had. Not everybody, but more. So the trajectory was going up. The fear of extreme poverty, which I think had probably been a dread for people for a long time, was eased by Social Security. So, what about people who grew up a couple decades later? Well, U.S. was still prosperous. And moreover, civil rights legislation was taking some inroads on the national disgrace of how Black people were treated. And it eventually extended to increasing women's rights. That isn't talked about as much, but any of you who are much younger, ask me all the things women couldn't do when I was a kid. You'll be amazed if you haven't read this. So, as Unitarian minister, abolitionist minister Theodore Parker wrote, "The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice." What about now? In the U.S., the trajectory, I would say, is leveling off. It had to, I suppose. Disappointing, though, especially if you lived in a time when you kind of took it for granted. And that can feel like a loss. However, let me share with you some of the data that Mr. Kristof got when he was trying to help himself get perspective. United Nations data. Infant toddler mortality. For most of history, about 50% of newborns died as infants or toddlers. Even in 1950, worldwide, almost a quarter did. Now, according to United Nations, 2024, 3.6% die before the age of 5. And that's including war zones, floods, famines, places where there's no modern medical facilities. That's dramatic. Another one he came up with, extreme poverty, again, as defined by the United Nations. Historically, most humans lived in poverty or extreme poverty. The share has been plummeting. Now, the United Nations 2024 estimated about 8.5% worldwide. Still a lot, but it's really different from how it used to be. Literacy, which means access to so much. Again, well, even when Mr. Kristof and I were kids, most of the world was illiterate. Always had been. That's decreasing steadily. almost 90% worldwide are literate. And to me, this says it's so encouraging to think about doing things when clearly things are being effective. Not always, not all the time. Is this startling to you? It was to me. Why? And why so many Americans say they feel insecure, discouraged about the future, even angry about what is going on chronically? Yes, there are injustices aplenty. Corruption, deep societal problems. Worldwide, there are wars, tyrannical regimes, floods, famines. All of these we'd like to fix. But none of them is new. So why the gloom now? The second part of this homily, I hope, will help you lift some of the gloom. We'll start by singing together a hymn that always cheers me. I'm running it so I get to pick it, right? Choir, please come up and lead us in singing For the Beauty of the Earth. Verses 1, 2, and 4. Thank you. I love our choir. I'm so grateful to them because I can't sing, and it's wonderful to have people who can and do. Okay. So, I'll mention some things that may help you step away from the gloom. But first is a big question. Should we step away? Shouldn't we be upset about the bad things that are happening? Isn't it a moral responsibility? Don't we owe it to the world if we personally are safe and comfortable? I'm not a moral philosopher or a theologian. I can't answer those questions. I am a psychologist, and as I realized, thinking about that, psychology is a very practical discipline. From that perspective, I can say that focusing on low probability dangers or those beyond our control creates gratuitous anxiety. And focus intently on distant disasters creates gratuitous despair or depression. Yes, gratuitous. How does it benefit anyone if I spend a lot of time reading about the Taliban's repression of women, which is something that pisses me off and makes me sad? How does it benefit anyone if I'm obsessively worrying about the future of my grandson, who has a lot of ADHD? So, hope he's going to do well. He's 8 years old, and we'll see. Ask not for whom the bell doth toll, it tolls for thee. Dramatically effective line, and it's terrible advice. Obviously, it doesn't toll for me, or I couldn't hear it. If it tolled for somebody close to me, I would know. It's probably a moral statement, but it is terrible advice from a psychologist. Being more concrete, not about depression, but about anxiety, I think about a friend of mine who, during the stock market downturn of 2008, told me she was watching in agony with every drop of her retirement portfolio. She wasn't facing actual poverty, although she'd had some as a child, which might make a difference, but she was watching, without doing anything, every drop. I thought about it and I asked her, okay, the last few years, it's been going up steadily. Did you watch that in detail? What do you think, yes or no? No, she hadn't. So I did a little empathizing, and then I suggested, why don't you give those reports the same benign neglect, whether they're going up or down or flat? That conversation encapsulates for me the way in which she, and so many of us, selectively attune to bad news. There are a number of problems with this. Maybe most strikingly, we have only so much emotional and cognitive bandwidth. If we focus reading, thinking, talking about what's wrong with the world, I'm not enjoying the beauty or celebrating the good news. If you have a genuine, intense crisis to cope with, okay. Otherwise, get up and move. You'll feel better, and it hurts no one. Now, what can be done with all those emotional and cognitive cues to attune to what may be wrong? This is not anything from any authority other than me thinking about it a little bit, so take it that way. But I think know your enemies, and it can help you step back. One is we are animals, evolved with all sorts of physical danger that all animals have. Think of birds, think of monkeys, think of zebras, even the predators. Lions' cubs can be killed by wild dog packs. Wild dog puppies can be killed by lions. Being alert constantly means survival for many. For us now, most of us, We don't look like food to anything but mosquitoes. But our hard wiring doesn't know that. We're hardwired to look for danger. Okay. Knowing it's there maybe can help. It's not something that can be fixed in less than maybe 100,000 generations. Okay, but then there's other stuff that's a little less necessary. The old newspaper saw, if it bleeds, it leads. You've probably, most of you heard that. Well, it's been picked up, copied, and expanded enthusiastically by television and other news media programming. Whatever the political leaning of the program. A third one I've thought of, and at 80, I hate this, but it's relevant. People in general become more timid as they get older. I remember reading that when I was maybe 30 in graduate school and thinking, that's awful. I don't want that to happen to me, but guess what? It has. I hate it, but there it is. And more of us in America are old now, so we're easier to scare as individuals and as a population. I'm sure there are lots of other sources, but the point is, pay attention to where the negativity comes from and challenge it. I don't mean by rose-colored glasses, I just mean by clear glasses, or as clear as you can scrub them. You have children. Don't teach them to be afraid of all snakes. Teach them to know what snakes are poisonous and how to avoid them, and how to appreciate and enjoy all the non-poisonous ones. I've realized this also, something like writing to bring up stuff. A lot of children fear that their parents will die. I understand. I didn't have it as a kid. At about age 8, I think, a grandparent died. My parents picked up that I was worried. So my father, who was the picture of rationality, and that can be helpful, can be constricting, but it can be helpful, said, you don't have to worry. Most people don't die until they're quite old, and even if by some chance your mother and I both died, you'd be cared for by Grandma Downs or by Aunt Sue. I took that in and I said, I'd rather Aunt Sue. That was it. Reality took it away. It wasn't an issue anymore. It's reality also to spend time thinking about those things that Kristof mentioned, especially any that surprises you. And then you might spend some time coming up with your own list. Do you remember reading that the murder rate in the United States has been dropping steadily, except during COVID, but other than that, it's been dropping steadily? How about all the medical advances that make more diseases avoidable or make others better treated? How about the massive philanthropic projects of people like Bill Gates? You can just come up with a list, and it'll make you feel better if you do. Then there's the practice of gratitude. Yes, it's become a cliche, but it's healthy for the body, mind, spirit. As David pointed out to me when I was talking about this, that doesn't mean saying, I'm grateful I'm not dead. Grateful for what I can get by being alive. Use positive language. Okay, end of advice. Now, we'll have a time for anyone wanting to celebrate a personal joy or grieve a personal loss. Let's see, we're going to handle this by David lighting candles, and I will bring the microphone around to anyone who wants to. Just kind of raise your hand.
Lots of candles to be lit here. Okay, Judy. Okay, Judy, that's her hand. So this out.
I have joy in Virginia, and that is, I have joy for, and so does Virginia, to see our grandson headed to college and out to become a mature man. So we're joyful to see him move that direction.
Hi, I'm Judy, and I'm here to brag about my daughter. My daughter Christine, and she lives in the Philadelphia area. So a couple of Thursdays ago, from 6 to 6:30, she was being interviewed on a Philadelphia radio station. The thing that prompted the fact that they had her there as a guest was that she's just come out with her own first album of her own songs that she wrote herself. But the thing that really puffed my little chest up was when they described her as an icon of Philadelphia folk music.
Spend some time with us here because we haven't seen her for several months. So we're happy to have her with us.
My family and I have a blessing. My sister turned 103 years old this month, and she's a religious nun in Chicago. I was raised very strict Catholic, but have seen the light. And those who are close to me know that my sister is not aware that I'm still not Catholic, because she would be praying that I don't go to hell. But it's wonderful. We've given her big parties on her 90th and her 100th. This year she just had a little celebration in the convent, but she is still alert. She knows me. We speak on the phone through the Mother Superior, who connects me to her cell phone every week. And she's just a sweetheart. She taught for her whole career, kindergarten and first grade. The students loved her like they were her second mother. She was their second mother. And one of her parishioners loved her so much that the couple took her on a tour of Europe while she was a teacher. So she is the blessing in our family, and we all just love her so much.
I have one from the live stream. Curtis says she has concern for my granddaughter, who has been stationed in Kuwait for the last year. Her unit made it out before her base was bombed, which is a joy, but she is still not back in the States.
I have a mixed joy. My husband's mother has had a pretty steady decline in her health in the last week. She fell and hurt herself 5 out of 7 days in a row, and so we're very concerned about her. But we're grateful and hopeful that home health care is going to be providing her with a lot more support. So both, it's a mix. Yeah.
I'm grateful for the Create Your Theology group, which has really meant a lot to me. Special experience. So thank you, everybody in the group.
Thank you, Suzanne. I'm Stephanie, and I'm really thankful for the red buds in the parking lot and the garden out there. I love watching the different seasons. I love the ginkgos in the fall, and now we've got these beautiful red buds blooming out there. A little pop of purple to smile.
So sorry to interrupt. I am also very, very grateful for our West Side community. I'm very, very grateful for our West Side community, and also for those that tell me about things that I might have missed. So I forgot to officially announce our congregational meeting next week, and that's a really important meeting to attend because that's where we elect our officers for the next year, and we see our preliminary budget. So invite you to attend that meeting next week because it's going to be an important one. So thank you very much.
That's right after the service.
Yes, that's right after the service.
Thank you, Michelle.
Try again. Yes. For all those joys and concerns that didn't get said out loud, one more candle. And I've about used them all up here.
Okay. We'll close by singing together and with help from the choir, Morning So Fair to See. Verses 1 and 3. For closing, we can stand and join hands if you like, and if you'd rather not, that's fine. My closing words are from singer-songwriter Gordon Bach. He wrote a song which is just beautiful, and I wish I could sing, trying to help a friend who was very despondent, help her feel better. And the refrain, the chorus of it goes, "Oh, my Joni, don't you know, the stars are swinging slow. The seas roll gently as they did so long ago. If I had one thing to give you, I would tell you one more time that the world is always turning toward the morning. The world is always turning toward the morning." Is that magnificent? Thank you, everybody. Go in peace.